members, part 2. And I'm going to try to explain it in another way, in a more detail, to where we can actually see how we can live in this earth and be free while we're walking this earth. So I'm going to make a point that earth that we see, this earth, is a free will planet. When God sent us here, he gave us free will. And we think we have free will. So I'm going to read this first, explain it. So when we come to the earth, we're given free will. And as we look behind us, we will see what mankind has done with this gift of free will. We have killed our brothers like Cain killing Abel. We've had multitude of wars, nonstop wars. We have corrupted the Lord's way of love to choose to hate one another, and have turned to the ways of the other gods of this world. The God of this world is known as Satan, and he comes to kill, steal, and destroy men's life. Satan is a spirit, just like God is a spirit. And we have been like avatars in his hands, in Satan's hands. An avatar is, generally speaking, the embodiment of a person or an idea. But remember, we're to be the embodiment of Christ. Christ is supposed to dwell in us, where it's no longer we who live, but Christ who live in and through us. However, in a computer world, so I'm going to make this teaching kind of like, how updated. 2,000 years ago, God calls us to be instruments in his hands. And I'm going to use the word avatar. An avatar is something that refers to a character, represents in the computer world, like you make a character and then you have the controls and you decide what that character is going to do in the world that you created. And we are going to find out we've been avatars or an instrument in the hands of Satan, or we're an avatar, an instrument in the hands of God. So it says that an avatar is a manifestation of a deity or released soul in bodily form on earth, an incarnate divine teacher. If you're either teaching for Satan or you're teaching for God. You're teaching for one or another. The God of this world, or the God who is life, light, and love. So an avatar is a figure representing a particular person, like in video games, on internet forums. And above an avatar, you'll see a conversation depicted like in a balloon over the avatar's head, saying what they're communicating, what they're thinking back and forth within them. So an avatar is referred to an image representing a person. So it's kind of like our inward thoughts. Whenever God is inward talking to us, we could see that like a picture bubble up here saying, like, let's say someone is cussing you out, and inwardly you're hearing God telling you not to cuss them back, not to curse them back, not to render evil for evil. So in that avatar picture, you would see the one who has the controls of your heart saying, no, don't speak back to him like that. A soft answer is going to turn away wrath, or that's not how we do things as my son or my daughter. That's not how we speak in this world. So whereas if we're an avatar in Satan's hand, we're going to be having that little balloon, that little bubble up here saying, when someone says something to me, you're going to hear a thought saying, they're not going to get away with that. They're not going to speak to me like that. Or I know what they're doing. They're really planning to do this behind my back. They're not going to get away with this. And then all the thoughts of what you're going to do to prevent them, or what you're going to do to control them, what you're going to do to stop them. I'm just not going to talk to them. I'm going to ignore them, or I'm leaving. I am leaving them. And all the things that you have, those two-way communications, but who are you communicating with? Are you communicating with God, who's telling you how love, life, and light acts? Or are you communicating with the God of this world, who's using you as his avatar, but you may not know it? You may be a worshiper, an obedient of Satan, and you not even know it, because he's a spirit. You're not seeing him with your natural eyes or hearing him with your natural ears. So, in other words, of the Bible, it says we're either an instrument in the hands of God, which is light, life, and love, light, and life, or we're an instrument in the hands of evil and wickedness. We get to choose with our free will who we're going to serve. So that choice is known as free will. God even says, I've set before you life and death, blessings and cursings. You, by your free will, should choose life. But if you want by your free will to choose death, that's up to you. I won't stop you. Love will not force you. But I'm telling you, use your free will to do what's right. Bring what's right into this earth. Bring the light into this earth. So that choice, who we're going to serve, is known as free will. Even though we had free will, we've been taken over so completely throughout history by wickedness that God had to wipe out entire species of humans, like in the flood. Sodom and Gomorrah wiped out all those cities. It wasn't just Sodom and Gomorrah, but there were the cities. He had to wipe them all out because they got so wicked. We have been so ignorant about spiritual truths that we've been used over and over again to war against our own brethren and to kill and destroy people made in God's image. And yet we celebrate those deaths. As long as I'm living, I don't care if I have to kill you. I don't care if you're dead, as long as I get to live. That is self-preservation, and love is about preserving the life of everybody. God's going to rule and reign until all have been returned to the heart of love. So I want to make a point that back in the day, back in Noah's day, God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. How did the earth get filled with violence? How did their earth get filled with violence? It's because of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That serpent has been talking within man, still talks within man. And has not been bound until you get him bound in you, or that you take up those serpents, which you can do. Take up his lies, take up his deceptions. So Genesis 6:12 and 13, this is 6:12. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. His way is a way of love. His way is a way of life. There is no death in God. But the earth was filled with violence, and the enemy has been having us be violent. I have pictures of here, men arguing over the women, and the women having really no choice in what they're supposed to do, or hitting each other, robbing from each other, raping each other. That is what mankind's been doing, and that is not God's way. So in my teaching yesterday, when I said that we have a choice of who we serve, and I made a point that I showed the two men, the old man and the new man, and both of them were you too. And so I want to make a point here. My granddaughter just last night had a dream. She did not see my video yesterday, but I want to tell you her dream. She had a dream that she was two people, and there was one of her that was like a skeleton, had hair, and the other one of her was like, her body, she looked like what she looked like. But this one that had skeleton and hair on it, it was trying to pull her using this purple slime. It was not, see, purple is supposed to represent pride bound. But if it's a purple slime, it was trying to pull her back to her old Adam nature, back to the first Adam. I want you to know she's 11 years old. She is not, 40 years old. She's not 50 years old. She's 11. And God is speaking to her in spiritual terms. In this dream, this herself, that was just a skeleton with hair, and this purple slime that was just slimed on her, and she was using it trying to drag Isabella, and Isabella's like, how come she's so strong? And she's trying to get this off of her, and she's screaming, Mom, come help me. And all of a sudden that purple slime girl, which was herself, went running from the mother, and the mother went after her, after the skeleton girl, and went to try to get Isabella free from her. And the skeleton girl jumps into a really cold lake, and the mother goes in the lake, and she's going to kill that first Isabella, the one that's trying to pull her back into the old Adam nature. And she gets it, and she's trying to drown it, and finally she gets it up and throws a big rock on it. And so Isabella's out there with her mom and dad saying, what should we do with it? And she's like, in the dream, they said, well, we could bury it, but I'm just afraid that it'll just come right back up out of the ground. We've got to find out what can we do with this thing so that it never comes back and tries to get you again. And so there was more to the dream and it went on, but I'm not going to go into that part of it because it just shows there are two of us. I mean, God is telling her, Isabella, there's two of you. There's the first Adam nature. When you came through your mom and dad, you had to put on that soulish, fleshly man, but you've awakened to the fact that you're a spirit. Now, your spirit man's getting stronger and stronger, but the flesh man is going to try to pull you and be ruled by Satan through that flesh man and do evil things. And so she knows that, oh my goodness, at least I've got my mom and dad to help me. I've got my mom and dad to say, especially the mom helped in this one. The dad came out and goes, what's going on? And was just, looking as to what's happening, not concerned, knowing that his daughter Isabella was a spirit and shall get the victory, especially with truth, with being taught the truth. So the whole teaching yesterday was about who are we going to, with our free will, serve? Are we going to continue to serve the God of this world, using us as his avatar? Or are we going to serve God? So let me go to the second slide. We are an instrument in the hand of one or the other, the God of this world or the God of love. Now remember, God says, my children, the ones that come back to know me, the ones that remember they are spirit, they will not hurt nor destroy nor hurt in all my holy mountain. The holy mountain is known as the kingdom of sons and daughters. God also uses the word Zion to explain the kingdom where I am ruling. That's my holy mountain. The holy mountain is where I'm ruling inside of my sons and daughters. They've awakened to the fact that they are spirits and they are birthed from God. And also known as Jerusalem, the throne ruling the kingdom. Jerusalem above, who's free, who is the mother of us all. From that throne is, if you picture Jerusalem in the natural with a government, and out of that government, which is located in Jerusalem, the government rules the nation. So out of the throne, that Jerusalem, which is a teacher of peace, the city of truth, rules all the sons and daughters that have awakened to the fact that they are spirits, awakened. So I say we are avatars, and we can look like this, men, women of all ages, colors, sizes, and we're either avatars for God, who is humility, or we're avatars for Satan, who is pride. In Psalm 144, for the spirit-led life, 144 means the children who are the spirit, and they are being led by God. And they say, I will sing a new song unto thee, O God, upon the psaltery and upon an instrument of 10 strings will I sing praises unto thee. And that 10 is the love written on their tender hearts of flesh, the song of the heart. The kingdom laws of life, which is written in Matthew 5, 1 through 14, written on the heart through relationship as children of God. So it says, blessed are you, my children. You're accepted in me. Blessed are you. You are pure in my eyes and you can see God. You're blessed are you. That's what's written on their heart. But then we come over as another instrument, an avatar. In Ezekiel 33, it says, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goes after their covetousness. Remember, put ye off covetousness. And lo, thou art unto them, God, as a very lovely song, one that has a pleasant voice and can play well on an instrument, but they hear your words, but they will not do them. So they think that they're serving themselves, that I'm doing what I want to do. This is what I want to do in this earth. And come to find out, they're really avatars for Satan, for the wicked one. And, but they don't know that because it's just a spirit. So the next slide I put, you can and should put off the old man with his deeds as he was led by Satan to kill, steal from your kill, and steal from your life and destroy you with these things. And then it says mortify. That means to deprive of power, to destroy the strength of, to kill, to put off. This is what the soulish, fleshly old man does, as he was an instrument of Satan, an evil spirit. There is no abundant life in him in these things. There's no abundant life in doing the fornication, the uncleanness, the inordinate affection, like I talked about in yesterday's video. Go back and watch that. But it says also put off anger, wrath, malice, strife, hatred, jealousy, envy. And so yesterday I told you what to put off, but I didn't tell you what to put on. So today I'm going to talk about you put off this, but you put on this. So you put off your addictions, your drunkenness. At one point I was addicted to gambling. I mean, I would love to go to Las Vegas and I would gamble. I could hit $1,000 on this machine, 1,000 on this one, and 1,000 on this one, and just think I am in high cotton now because I love the excitement of gambling. And as long as it was an addiction, it had me. I was not using my free will because it was pushing me to do it. I'll give you another example. One time I had an addiction to bagels. I'd get up in the morning and my eyes would pop open and I thought, oh, Einstein bagels. I've got to have an Einstein's bagel. And I realized I had a problem. When I got up and I just had to go get an Einstein's bagel, it had me. I was addicted. I did not have authority or reign over that addiction. It had me. Anything that just makes you so excited and makes you like, oh, this is what I've got to do. You are being led by Satan. I thought, well, I can do anything. I can go do this gambling. I can do this eating anything I want when I want. And I sure can. But it was death. I was not being led by God. It was death in me. Anything when someone opens their eyes and they think I've got to have a drink, oh God, just a drink, or just my pill, just my pain pill. I've got to have my pain pill. I've got to have my meth. I've got it. Whatever you've got to have. You are an avatar for Satan. You're being led by Satan, and you can put that off. You can kill that. How? By God speaking to you and you hearing, no, he has you. You're going to have to fast that. You're going to have to, like I fasted bagels. I refused. I thought, if you have me, I'm going to fast bagels. I'm not going to have a bagel for at least 40 days and nights. But I chose not to have them for a long time. I think probably 6 months. No bagels. I thought, you're not overcoming me. I'm going to get victory over you. It says, put away blasphemies and filthy communication out of your mouth. Don't lie to one another. Don't bite and devour one another. You see where it says, put off wrath, strife, malice, hatred, jealousy, envy. There's no life in any of that. And if you're being led by jealousy, if you're being led by hatred, if you're being led by strife and wrath, you're an avatar for Satan. Don't fool yourself. Don't think I'm God's child because I went to church Sunday and Wednesday. I am led by God. No, you're not. You're an avatar for Satan. He's pulling you. He's the puppet master, and you're just a little puppet doing exactly what he tells you to do. How about doing the exact opposite? He tells you to be jealous, and you say, I'm not going to be jealous of anyone. I'm going to trust God. I'm not going to have wrath and strife or anger with anyone. I'm going to choose joy over anger. Always know that you can do the opposite. If he's trying to be an avatar to make you angry, you choose to put on joy. You do the exact opposite. So, and you have free will. You get to choose this day who you're going to serve. How about this? Choose this life who you're going to serve. It says, don't bite and devour one another. Put off your witchcraft, which is stubbornness, rebellion, poisoning, administering of drugs and magical arts. Even when they were forcing us to take the jab, when they did that, they were administering their drugs to us. They were poisoning us. For those of us who said, I'm not taking it, not doing it. I get to choose by my free will what I put in this body. Well, how about this? I get to choose by my free will what I allow in my mind. How about that? You get to choose what you allow in your heart and say, no, you're not forcing your anger and your hatred and your addictions on me. I've been addicted. I've been led day in and day out. More money. I got to make more money. Oh, I can't live without this money. I got to. You are an avatar for Satan at that point. You're not free. So it also says, put off, all of your contentions and your strife, your murders, remember, Satan was a murderer from the beginning. And it says that if you talk evil of your brother, you're a murderer. How about this? How about don't talk evil of your brother or your neighbor? Or how about this? Just don't talk evil of them, because it's trying to get us to murder them with your mouth. And they which do these things shall not inherit the kingdom. What's the kingdom? It's peace and joy and uprightness within you. You're not going to inherit peace or joy within you if you're doing those. So here on this side is what it tells you to put on. You can cast something out. You can get victory over something, but you better fill it with something else. So this is living an abundant life. Jesus came to give us life and life more abundantly. And where is he dwelling? He should be on the throne of your heart. He should be able to sit there in the New Jerusalem and say, let me rule, let me reign, and help you learn how to love, help you learn how to be merciful, help you learn how to be kind. So this is living the abundant life when this is what you look like inside of you. What's in your heart will come out of your mouth. And you have put on the new man who is a spirit, and who is a spirit, has awakened to the fact that, oh my gosh, I can put off my old man, my first Adam, my first man, the first one who I am, when I was born from my flesh and blood, mom and dad. And now I'm born from above as a spirit. And now from my above, I'm being taught and led by the Spirit of God to put on mercy and kindness and humbleness of mind and meekness and long suffering and forbear one another and forgive one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do. You have a quarrel against somebody, you have unforgiveness against somebody, forgive them. Christ forgave you. Now you forgive them. That's a kingdom principle. Not my will, but thy will be done. What's your will? My will is for you to forgive them. Thy will be done. Forgive everybody. That's what he says. You forgive because I've forgiven you. And then put on charity, which is love, which is the bond of being perfect, mature, growing up. Well, no one can be perfect. Who told you that, Adam? God told us, be ye perfect as I am perfect. That means grow up, be mature. Those Job's friends in there will tell, well, you're not perfect. You're not mature. Really? Well, why are you fighting against me so bad, telling me I'm not? Obviously, I might be growing up a little bit because I'm hearing you pretty well trying to tell me what I'm not. You're talking to spirits inside of you because you're a spirit. You hear spirits and you recognize who's trying to be your avatar. I mean, who you're an avatar for, either for God or for Satan. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts. God is a God of peace. If you don't have your thoughts and imaginations of peace and joy and tranquility, God's not ruling that heart. Something else is. And sing with spiritual songs in your hearts to the Lord, and grow the fruits of joy, righteousness, and peace, which is what the kingdom of God is. You can grow with that seed of truth being planted in you. You can grow inside of you the fruit of peace and joy and righteousness and long suffering and meekness and kindness. You can grow those things in you to where that's what's inside of you. And that's what comes out of your mouth. So that's what it means by put off these things, kill them, deprive them of their power, but put on these things. And you can do that right here in this earth, because as he is, so are we in this world. This isn't after we leave here. Some people think, oh, they can't understand this. They can't understand this teaching. It's too deep for them. Really? Then don't let them pick up the Bible, because the Bible is pretty daggone deep. But the Bible is a spiritual book. And if you don't know what the Spirit is saying to you, you're going to be cutting off your own right hand. You're going to take a knife. Well, I can't quit sinning, so I'm going to cut this hand off. One girl plucked her own eyes out because she heard a voice saying, everybody's going to go to hell if you don't pluck your eyes out. He's not talking about plucking your natural eyes out. He's not talking about cutting your own hand off. He's not talking about you actually killing yourself as far as a flesh and blood man. He's talking about putting off that which is not of spirit, life, and light, and put on what is. So it says, God would be unjust to tell us to do something we cannot do, that we cannot do. Now listen, God told us to do this. You do this. You put off. You mortify. You take up serpents. You take up his lies. You can do this. You cast down thoughts and imaginations. If we can't do it, then why don't we just take scissors and just cut that out of our Bible? Just cut it out and say, well, can't do it. We can do it. And Satan hates that because he only rules and reigns through our first Adam. He does not rule and reign through our spirit man, only to when we are under the sway of flesh and of soul. So Romans 6:12 says, you let not sin, the old serpent that's been sin and a murderer from the beginning, therefore reign in your mortal body. Don't let him reign in there. Don't be his avatar, that you shall obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield ye your members as instruments or avatars of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourself as avatars unto God, as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments or avatars of righteousness to God. Thinking right, speaking right, doing right. We can do this. This is not too hard for us. And Jesus did it 2,000 years ago. He said, listen, this is the way, walk ye in it. I'm showing you this is the way to life. Follow me. I did it 2,000 years ago. Why are you all so slow? And then it says, in God, there is no death, and we can live in his life now in this world as spirits awakened to God. When it talks about being dead, it means that we were dead as those that are alive from the dead. When you're dead, we were born dead in Adam, in the first man. But when we come alive in Christ, now we're like, oh, we're hearing from God. Now what should we do? Well, let me tell you what you do. You put off all of this and you put on all of this. This is your choice. This is your free will. You choose. You choose life always. And then 1 Corinthians 15:53. For this corruptible first Adam must put on incorruption, the second Adam. And this mortal first Adam must put on immortality, the second Adam. So when this corruptible first Adam shall have put on incorruption, the second Adam, and this mortal, our flesh man, also known as the first Adam, shall have put on immortality, the spirit man, also known as the second Adam, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory or life. Life swallows up death, and you can live in this world, in this earth, with life more abundantly. For remember in 1 Corinthians 15:22, for as in Adam all die, so in Christ will all be made alive. And what are you made alive to? You're made alive back to God. Back to what does God want us to do? Well, he told us what to do. Put this off, put this on. You choose. I gave you free choice. You think you have free will, you have free choice. And when you're in addiction to this, you're being driven to this, you have to have this. No, you're an avatar for Satan. When you're free, when you are, oh my goodness, I don't have all those thoughts driving me the second I wake up, or the minute or from the time I wake up till I go to bed, I'm driven. No, you are in peace. You're in joy. You're being led at that point by God, which is life, light, and love. Okay, that's all I have for today. Thanks for listening.